right, happy Tuesday. Welcome in. It's the Kinner and Kev Show. Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM, Chatterbox Sports on YouTube. We are off and rolling. If we didn't have technical difficulties to start a day, would it even be a day? That's the question, right?
Technology, man. Technology, dude.
All right, welcome in again. It's the Kinner and Kev Show, 1410 ESPN Radio, Chatterbox Sports on YouTube. We welcome you in, off and rolling. A ton to dive into. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash. Mr. Kev Nash, welcome.
What up, though?
Got to check the chat. I know we were a little delayed coming in, so now I have to go back to the old tube and see what people. I saw someone had messaged in saying if I buy the hype of Ellie De La Cruz. I don't think I've ever haven't bought the hype of Ellie De La Cruz. So I don't know if he's accusing me of not ever buying it at some point or what. But yeah, Ellie, he keeps up this pace. He's going to have to be in that MVP conversation with the way that he's lit. I mean, the offense is not very good. His offense is really good. They're getting great starting pitching. If it wasn't for the starting pitching and Ellie De La Cruz, the Reds would be, well, the opposite of what the Guardians are doing. So,
is he, in your opinion, a jersey you would buy? Because you don't buy a lot of jerseys. You're not a jersey guy.
The Reds have taught me, and I think it was Garrison yesterday, the Reds have taught me not to get close to players. I mean, Votto was the only jersey you could buy and feel safe about it for the longest time.
I'm pretty sure you can feel safe about 44.
And I had a Votto jersey. I know that's kind of crazy to you. I know that's kind of crazy. I know people, they
How
think
long ago?
I mean, it was when my wife and I first met. So, I mean, almost 10 years ago.
I was always 31?
And I used to be a Joey Votto defender. I always thought the people that would rip on his contract, I was just like, stop. I would much rather have an organization that, and by the way, it was not a bad contract. I don't care what anybody says. It was not a bad contract. To me, I'd rather have a team that gives out a big contract like that, and if that's your excuse for why they weren't building around it over the last 10 years, and I don't know what your 15 years or whatever, I don't know what to tell you, but that's not why they were bad. They were bad because they wouldn't offer anyone else $25 million a year, as far as that's concerned. But I was never down on the Votto contract. If you don't have a Joey Votto contract, and he lived up to I always said teams who give out a 10-year contract are giving you a 10-year contract hoping to get 4 to 5. If you can produce for 4 to 5, at least 40 to 50% of that contract, as wild as that sounds, you're giving people contracts for the immediate 2, 3, 4 year run, and you're just hoping that they can go as long as they can into the back end of that contract. But yeah, I wasn't, but I was getting tired of Joey Votto being in the damn lineup every day, hitting 114, 115, 180, and everyone's saying, and then he randomly hits a home run once every 20 at bats. And, oh, Joey still bangs. No. Anyways. But
I think everybody out there can feel comfortable buying a 44 jersey, and to be able to wear a 44 jersey.
To answer your question, no doubt.
For the next, 5-10 years, I think it's safe to say that he'll be a Cincinnati Red.
But there are some who are, the better he's playing, this is why we can't have nice things. You already know where I'm going with this.
Gosh.
You already know where I'm going.
Of
there
course.
are people, and there's part of me that's kind of understanding this. I mean, because Ellie's a special kind of player. There's Matt McClain's your typical good. I know he hasn't played this year, but the dominant rookie year he had, if he would picked up where he left off, Matt McClain's your typical good Reds player, above good, right? He's a very, very good player. You're going to buy his jersey. He's safe. But Ellie's the kind that scares the hell out of you, because Ellie's going to get that $400 million, $500 million type of contract conversation, right? What was it what did we just see
Tatis.
the most, some of those wild numbers right there. Will the Reds do that? And if the Reds couldn't function with a $25 million a year, $150 million deal for Joey Votto or whatever it was, or $250, if they couldn't function with $240 million to Joey Votto, what the hell are they going to do when they have to double that to keep an Ellie De La Cruz? That's my concern for the Cincinnati Reds. I didn't plan on opening up with that today, but that's kind of where we're at, as far as that's concerned.
Now, you would know way better than I would, because I don't really understand how contracts work in MLB, but they go to arbitration, how many years after they make their big
I gotta
debut.
pull. I don't even have all those details in front.
That's why I say
because the contracts for baseball are so strange.
Yeah.
Because you have all the options of how many times you could send them down.
Yeah.
Some players run out of options, so it's now you're at the point where, well, we can't send him down, so we just have to either continue paying him to either sit the bench and hit 114, or we have to keep throwing him out in the lineup because, damn it, if you're gonna pay him, he's gonna at least be out there doing his thing some way or another.
So yeah, that's what I was saying. For the next, 5 years, I think people can feel safe with the 44 jerseys.
Yes, no doubt. And I'm going to get that will be the next jersey I get is Ellie, as far as that's concerned. But nonetheless, Kinner and Cab, 1410 ESPN Radio. Reds going to be in action later on tonight. Elliot, are we still slandering Joey Votto? No, I was defending Joey Votto, Elliot. I was just defending Joey Votto.
Not we.
Not we, yeah. There's never a we. We're not French. This is not, But there was no slandering of Joey Votto. And by the way, Elliot, if pointing out that the Reds continuing, he was hitting below 200 for like a good month and a half stretch last year, and he was in the lineup every single day. David Bell loves giving people random off days for no damn reason, but he had no problem putting 188 in the lineup every single day, no hesitation whatsoever. But if that's slandering, that's slandering. That's just I call that critiquing.
Shouts out to Joey Votto.
And shout out to David Bell. That's my guy.
Buddies.
Me and David Bell are friends.
Best buds.
We laugh together now. We shake hands. When he sees me, he comes up and shakes my hand now. Like, we're good. And he knows what he's doing. He knows I don't have the guts to continue talking crap if he's nice to me. That's what coaches don't understand. The meaner you are to talent, they're just going to dig their heels in even deeper. He's a smart man, that David Bell. I've said that a lot. Anyways, let's see. Joey Votto hates winning is a direct quote. I mean, Joey Votto had no problem. I mean, if you want me to change the direct quote, Elliot, fine. But the bottom line is Joey Votto. Let me change it. Maybe Joey Votto didn't hate winning, but Joey Votto had no problem losing. Never once was he upset about losing, ever. I like athletes who, show a little frustration when their team's losing. Hey, either make a move to make us a contender or get me the hell out of here. I like athletes who do that. I'm going to TikTok it up even though we keep losing. The Reds just did something. They just wrapped up something yesterday that they haven't done in over 10 years, and that's have a winning month of April. Okay. They're 16-13 right now. I think they're so that would put them. Did they win 2 of the first 3? Either way, 16-13. But they're going to finish with the winning month of April. Haven't done that in over 10 years. I don't know really what that means. But the wild thing about the Reds right now, so they're 14 wins in the month of April. They're sitting at 16 wins right now. This sounds wild. If you win 15 games a month, that's 90 wins for the season. But right now, even at 16-14 or 16-13. If you take the pulse of Reds fans, everyone's uneasy. Everyone's concerned. Everyone doesn't feel great about this team. If I would have told you that this is a 90-win team coming into the year, that's a hell of a year. That's a great year. But if they repeat this 15, 16-win mark a month for the next 5 months, that's a 90-win baseball team. That's a playoff team. It is very wild to me, the uneasiness, if you will, of the fan base right now. And not all. There are some who are just absolutely ecstatic about what's happening right now. These are good problems. I'm not saying injuries are good problems to have, but the fact that you're disappointed because you had higher expectations, that's a good problem to have. That means you had expectations for this team coming into the year, but they're not horrible by any means. Starting pitching's been fantastic, especially as of late. Ellie's been amazing, but the problem is, man, if you can get this Ellie with the Matt McClain and with the Friedel, and if you can get everyone else, Christian Encarnacion Strand heading around him, if, obviously, there's just some other guys that are going to have to step up, and health has been the biggest problem for the Reds thus far. But I have no problem with the 16-13 start, and I love the fact that for the first time in 10 years, they have a winning month of April.
16-13, 2 games back of the Cubs for first in the NL Central. I think you're right about expectations. Not only the fans had expectations, but David Bell told those expectations to you at Reds Fest was to win the division. So, when the manager comes out and says that, it gets the fans going. I mean, obviously it gets people, buying tickets to the game, coming through the turnstops to go see the team. So their expectations are very high. So there's nothing wrong with having high standards for your team and the team coming out saying, hey, this is what we expect to do this season. So, I think the fans have every right in the world to feel like a little uneasy, and, we talk a little bit about the team that I follow, and, I'm uneasy on the start at 19-9 because I'm like, okay, when's the bottom going to fall out? It's
hurt me now.
No.
Hurt me now.
Keep me invested until football. That's my mindset. Keep me invested at least until the Olympics.
Oh, okay. I thought you were afraid of the good start. That's like when I go home from work and the wife's being nice to me. I'm like, what's going on? Remember them clothes you told me to put away? I didn't put them away. You know that, right? Yeah, I know. And you're still being nice to me. What'd you do? That's how you are as a fan right now. Oh man, we're winning. Why are you winning? What'd I do?
We're scoring. We're scoring. Our bully isn't that great. Starting pitching has been okay, but we're scoring a lot of runs, which I can appreciate. I'm actually going to try to go to a Guardians game when I go home for Mother's Day. So that's the goal.
Didn't you say your mom doesn't like baseball?
She doesn't. But
wow, happy Mother's Day.
I'm going to drag her down there anyway. Where are we going? Going to get something to eat? Nope. Yeah, we're going to get some hot dogs.
I mean,
at the good old
an
ballpark.
expensive dog at the ballpark. Let's just be real. But nonetheless, Reds back in action coming up later on tonight. Another late one. I caught old Shea Neal.
Young Neal.
He was on with Trace last night for Chatterbox Reds. So I told you they go on after every game.
Yeah.
And when I say every game, after every game, they go live to recap that game. They goes live, I think, starting like at the 9th inning, and they watch the game and then recap it after, whatever. But yeah, game getting done at 12:30, 1 in the morning last night. There's Shea. You know him. Just beaming, smile, talking Reds in his element, hanging out with Trace.
But he's like a time zone behind us, though.
Where
right?
is he anyways? I should know this.
In Kansas, right?
I think so.
Yeah, so they're
Kansas,
they're out behind
is that
us.
time difference
Yeah,
over
they're
there?
out behind us.
Interesting. I need to leave Dayton more. I need to leave Dayton more.
Need a vacation?
As far as that's concerned. But real quick, so Elliot says he joined TikTok in the last 2 years. So if I could reset this was Kev laughs because he just knows when he laughs, that's Kev's way of saying I disagree with you, but I'm just sitting this one out. That's I already know. If I had to categorize Kev's laughs, I already know where these are. So Elliot and Kev are probably on the same side on this. But we were talking about when the Angels played the Reds, last week before, whatever it was, Mike Trout, everyone drools over Mike Trout, how great he is, great numbers, great this, great that, and the other. But, been with the organization, 14, 15 years, and they've only had in that 15-year run, they've only had 4 winning seasons. In that 14, 15-year run, I'm saying 14, 15 to hedge my bet because I have no clue if it's 14 or 15, so I'm just throwing that out there. They've made the playoffs one time with Mike Trout, and they've only had 4 winning seasons in that 14, 15-year run. And I said, to me, I don't get all warm and fuzzy inside with Mike Trout because when I think of Mike Trout, I don't think of winning. And I know baseball is a little different. I know in other sports, the Michael Jordan LeBron debate, it always comes down to championships. If you want to start really nitpicking the greatest quarterback of all time, Tom Brady's it because the most Super Bowls, all this other stuff, right? But then you look at some of the other great quarterbacks in NFL history, you start breaking it down. You look at Dan Marino, never won a Super Bowl, so he can't be in the conversation, right? Well, Keith Byers works with us. That's his former teammate. He begs to differ about his thoughts on where Dan Marino sits there, but we always make it about championships. And then baseball, we always do as Kevin and I've talked about in the past, it's an individualized team sport, if you will. It's a team sport, but it's individualized more so than anything. It's the only sport that we don't use championships to gauge whether a player has had a successful career or not. And I'm here to tell you, I don't play by those rules. So anyways, I get frustrated with the Mike Trouts of the world because Mike Trout, while everyone's like, man, he's loyal. He's never demanded a trade out of there, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, because he's content with making all of that money, content with getting his numbers, but he's also content with losing. And you can't convince me otherwise. Name a sport where a superstar player can just lose year after 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 year and show up every year with a smile on his face and say, maybe this is the year we're going to figure it out. Give me a break. There's no competitive bone in his body. You cannot convince me otherwise that he can accept one playoff appearance in 14 or 15 years and be loyal and content and happy. And that was my complaint about Joey Votto over the years. Is Joey Votto, I'm a fan of Joey Votto, even though y'all think I'm not, but Joey Votto would drive me nuts because I would hold him to a different standard. He was the face of the Cincinnati Reds. He had a responsibility, in my opinion, to when the front office wasn't doing their job, when they weren't adding pieces to the puzzle to be a competitive team year in and year out, when they weren't doing what the Castellini said they were going to do when they came in, which was spend money and compete to win championships and all this stuff, and they haven't done any of that. Where was Joey Votto saying, hey, I have this no-trade clause. I'm going to waive it to get the hell out of here if you don't put a competitive team around me? He never did that. Even when rumblings from Cincinnati media would come out of the Reds might be open to moving Joey Votto, those reports got shut because Joey Votto said, why would I want to go to a winner and compete? I'm going to stay right here in Cincinnati because Cincinnati media is soft as hell. They don't actually hold your feet to the fire. And I've heard that from multiple former Major League players, that including some former broadcasters as well, that have said, well, why would he want to leave Cincinnati? Why would he want to leave Cincinnati? The media they'll never hold his feet to his fire. Even when he goes on those long stretches where, I don't know, one of the best hitters in franchise history, when he goes on them super long stretches where he just can't seem to hit the baseball, no one criticizes him. No one does anything because it's Cincinnati and they're fans of the teams and the players they follow more than anything else. So why would he want to leave? That was always my big criticism. Elliot did not like that take of mine, and that's fine. So Elliot goes on to say, he joined TikTok. So my comment was all he cared about was TikTok and social media. He was putting on the kilt and doing all this other weird stuff. I mean, more power to him. But Elliott said he joined TikTok in the last 2 years of his career while the Castellinis fielding a roster with Asdrubal Cabrera and the corpse of Nick Senzel. You were 1,000,000% correct, but you're also making my point. While the Castellinis fielded this, at what point did Votto speak up? And he had a responsibility, in my opinion, to hold the ownership's feet to the fire. I promise you this, if Ellie De La Cruz goes 5 straight years of not making the playoffs, if Ellie De La Cruz goes 5 straight years of not even being involved in the postseason conversation or being held out of MVP conversations because the team can't win baseball games, do you think he's going to want to stay in Cincinnati? Do you think he's going to want to be a part of the Reds long term? Do you think that he's just going to sit back and, oh, well, haven't made the playoffs in 10 years, but damn it, I'm still leading the league in steals? I don't think so. That's my big complaint. I didn't mean to open up with that today, but he got me going, Kev. He won. He won.
Got you under your feelings. My whole thing about it is I understand what you're saying, but at some point, you as a player do have to speak up for yourself. But in baseball, I just feel like it's totally different. Like you said, like we don't judge players from the championship rings that they got. It is the only sport where I could say if Justin Kenner is the best hitter in baseball, and guess what? He's not going to get to hit this entire series because I'm not going to pitch to him. I remember the one and only World Series that Barry Bonds played in.
Against the Angels, coincidentally enough.
They pitched to him twice, both times out the ballpark. And guess what? They took him out of the game. You can't take LeBron James out the game. You can't because he's going to get the ball. He inbound it to him. The ball's in your hands. Do whatever you want to do. In baseball, we can take the best players out of the game by simply doing this. And for people that are watching, just stick my hand out and walking them. And that's simple. That is why your teammates need to be better players in baseball, because if they walk me and I'm sitting on first base and then they strike out, I did my part. I got on base. You know what I'm saying? And that's why what was that one year that Jeff Kent was second in MVP voting, because he batted after Barry Bonds. So when they would walk Barry Bonds, he was
can't walk 2 guys in a row.
Yeah, you can't. So like my whole thing is it's a team sport, yes. But what you do as an individual matters just as much as what the team does. Now, to your point of saying, hey, I want to play for a winner, I can't argue with you there. I mean, if I was him, I would want to play for a winner. I mean, this whole thing is truly about winning and ultimately getting a ring. Like, that's why we play the game as well. Like, that's why we played as kids before this became the multi-billion-dollar sports industry that it was. You simply played because you like to play and you wanted to win. So at some point, you are correct that guys got to get to a point where, like, hey, man, their back is against the wall. They see that they have, only X amount of years in front of them to play this game and to potentially win a championship. So, yes, at some point I would prefer athletes that I care about and like to try to, force their way to get to a championship team. But I also do like the fact that, hey, man, I'm going to give this a good, honest effort. Like KD gave it a great honest effort.
Yeah,
LeBron,
9 years. Yep,
LeBron,
7 years.
Dame, like they look, and hey, man, this is where I want to be. I want to bring it here. They gave me an opportunity by drafting me. I want to bring a championship team to this organization again. And then, things happen, players move on and all that type of stuff. Management changes, ownership changes, and it's not the same place that you came into, and then you eventually move on. And baseball, I agree with you. Some guys do need to pull that trigger a little bit sooner. But as far as the player themselves, what they accomplish and what they do, he's doing his part. He's doing his part. Matter of fact, not only he did his part, but Ohtani did his part as well. How bad are the guys around you that you had the 2 best players in baseball and you can't do anything?
But look at the Angels rosters over the years. They're actually not bad. Like, now, to be fair, it's a lot of big names, a lot of star players on these rosters, but it's like you can't get it done with that. And then they, of course, that's what's wild to me. So, and yes, like at the end of the day, and by the way, like Votto, I wasn't saying like, okay, you signed that contract in 2012 or whatever it was, and then in 13, get me the hell out of here. But like, they started that rebuild in 15, 16. Obviously he stuck around for that rebuild. As a star player in baseball, you're going to have to experience a rebuild at some points, possibly 2 if you're really good and play long enough. And, but Votto, where I felt Votto should have put his foot down was when that first rebuild did not go as planned, that 2014 when they initially blew everything up. Mm-hmm. and they waited too long to move on from guys, of course, like Brandon Phillips and Todd Frazier and, obviously Jay Bruce and, the list goes on and on. I know everyone brings up the Chapman thing, but if you all remember, Chapman's value was at an all-time low because he was involved in the domestic violence situation. People that still bring that up, man, they got screwed in that deal. No, they were lucky they got anything back in return for Chapman, to be honest, because that was right at the point of that was right during the Ray Rice situation in the NFL, where leagues were not even touching these players, or teams were not even touching these players that were involved in that type of stuff. So, but I say all of that because that rebuild was a bad one. People act like when you rebuild, it automatically leads to winning. No, that rebuild was very unsuccessful, which is why the Castellinis had to try to bail out the rebuild by spending all that money back in 19 heading into 20 when they go out and they get, obviously, not Trad. Why am I drawing a blank? The third baseman from the damn Brewers. It doesn't matter, but you see, they went and spent all that money to go get those free agents, Castellanos and all them, and it just didn't work. Then they rebuilt it again. And Votto, and by the way, Elliot, when they started that rebuild the second time, that's when Votto should have been like, yeah, I'm kind of old. I want to compete for a playoff spot. I want to be in the playoffs. I want to hit 212 in the playoffs, dude. I don't just want to hit I'm a chameleon. I could blend in anywhere. I can hit 212 in the playoffs. I can hit 212 in the regular season. I could do it all, dude. I could do it all. But nonetheless, here we are. No Votto on the roster, and we have given him the first 27 minutes of the show today. I don't know who started. I think it was Elliot, to be fair. I wasn't even throwing shade at anybody. He brought up, I had to just, reset it. But, oh, here we go. See, that's why I know Elliot, that anyone that has to go the Deshaun Watson route in an argument, because you have nothing better to say, Elliot. What does Deshaun Watson have to do with this? Elliot says, you think Deshaun Watson is a better person than Joey Votto? I don't think I ever said anything about Joey Votto the person. Joey Votto the person? What is Joey Votto the person? Now, I've also said,
talking about his TikTok.
I mean that he was more worried about TikTok. He's more worried about TikTok than winning.
I don't think that's true.
Use your TikTok to say, hey, Castellini, get your together. How about that? You know what? I'm going to get a TikTok just so I could do that from time to time. How about that?
Jumping on the TikTok, having a little fun doesn't necessarily mean you're not in it to win it.
He says in all caps, admit you hate him. Admit you hate him.
He does.
Who are guys that you think I hate on this show?
Oh,
I think
my
we can
gosh.
make a list.
I think the list would be a lot shorter.
All right, so when we come back, because Elliot swears I hate Joey Votto. I do not, but it is what it is. I'm not going to win this argument. So Kev says it's a long list. If you had to put in the chat, by the way, especially on the
I'll give you my top five.
Top five. Who are the top five, whether it's coaches, players, media, whoever, that everyone thinks I hate? And I always have to do the disclaimer. Now, I don't hate this individual, but people, you hate him. You hate him. We'll be right back. Kenner and Kev.
Put it in the chat, too.
Yeah, I was going to say. Drew Garrison says Elliot is cooking. All right, we'll be right back. Kenner and Kev, 1410 ESPN Radio, Chatterbox Sports on YouTube. We'll be right back.
Does heel pain make you hobble just getting out of bed in the morning? If heel pain is affecting your ability to exercise and meet your walking or running goals, relief is as close as your local podiatrist. Podiatric physicians are highly trained doctors who specialize in medical and surgical treatment of the foot and ankle. Ohio Foot and Ankle podiatric physicians are available across the state and are devoted to providing the highest quality foot and ankle care.
For more information or to find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit ohiofoot.org.
Visit us at Hollywood Gaming Dayton this spring for the playoff action and the return of baseball. We've got the biggest screens, the best food and drinks, plus we're giving away Penn bonus play and prizes to Penn Play Rewards members. Not a member? Join by downloading and registering for the Penn Play app from the App Store. Unlock the fun, including a chance to win up to $2,000 in Penn cash. Make Hollywood Gaming Dayton your spring sports viewing headquarters. Must be in the state of Ohio to wager and over 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966 or visit org.ohio.gov for help.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text HIM to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text HIM to 321-321. That's HIM to 321-321.
Frickers doubles your savings when you use the Frickers app. Frickers doubles your points on everyday value menu item. Monday, boneless frickin' chicken wings. Double points on the Frickers app. Tuesday, traditional frickin' chicken wings. Double points. Wednesday, sirloin steak. Double points. Thursday, frickin' chicken chunks. Double points on the Frickers app. When you download the Frickers app, you can even earn points by choosing delivery. Frickers mobile app now offers delivery. Everyday values, double points, and delivery, all by downloading the Frickers app. Your best value is always Frickers. Delivery participation and hours may vary by location.
It's Kubota Orange Days. Shop the year's best selection of Kubota tractors, zero-turn mowers, and utility vehicles, including the #1 selling compact tractor in the USA. And now, through June 30th, get 0% APR for 84 months and up to $2,500 off BX23S tractors. See the details at KubotaOrangeDays.com.
Stop by Columbus Equipment in Columbus, Dayton, or Toledo to see a full line of Kubota construction equipment. Or check us out online at ColumbusEquipment.com.
Staples stores provide innovative products and services for small business, remote workers and learners, even teachers and parents. Explore more at your local Staples store.
1410 ESPN Radio gives you 5 straight hours of local sports talk every weekday. Don't miss Off the Bench with Trace Fowler at 1 p.m., followed by the Kinner and Kev Show from 3 to 6 p.m. The best local sports talk in the Miami Valley, right here on 1410 ESPN Radio and on the iHeartRadio app.
Hi, this is Michael, your service manager at Dave Arbogast Buick GMC in Troy, Ohio. I am inviting you to give us an opportunity to earn your business. We have expanded our hours to better meet your needs. We are now open until 6 p.m. during the week and 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. on Saturdays. We service all makes and models. We offer convenient shuttle service as well as pickup and delivery. Please visit us on the web at arbogastbuickgmc.com or in person. Exit 69 on I-75. Look for the giant American flag. I hope to see you soon.
And we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM, Chatterbox Sports on YouTube. Off and rolling here on a Tuesday. Yesterday's show, pretty much all NFL draft recap. I thought we'd give some of that a little bit of a break, but, my good friend Kelsey Conway put out a great article on T. Higgins and the Cincinnati Bengals that we'll get to here in a bit. Indeed. Everyone hates Kelsey Conway, and I do not know why. I do not. But the thing is, the rules of fandom, this is how you gauge a good reporter, right? If you're a reporter that writes stories that make me feel good inside, you're a good reporter. If you write things that don't make me feel good inside, you're a bad reporter. Like that's just the gist of it. Kelsey Conway has been labeled a Bengals hater and all this stuff. I can relate. Maybe that's why I like her article so much. Big Kelsey Conway fan. But no, some reports and details about the behind-the-scenes negotiations between the Bengals and T. Higgins and all that. We have that coming up around the corner. What else do I have on deck? I know LeBron, season 21, came to an end. So what's next? The Lakers in desperation mode, according to a story that came out today about something that they're willing to do to appease the king. So we'll get to that. The A-10 might not get Bronny, as far as I'm concerned. So we'll see what happens there. But Wright State baseball, an interesting thing coming up with them. Going to be potentially be adding another player. Not potentially. I mean, at this point, the Brewers going to be calling up Tyler Black, who's one of the top prospects in all of baseball. Pretty neat. But he'll join the likes of Sean Murphy, Peyton Burdick, who just the Reds picked up off waivers recently, who's now in Louisville. Will at some point get called up. Watch Peyton Burdick in Cincinnati. He played for the Marlins previously, and when the Marlins played at Cincinnati, I got a chance to see him. He, got a couple nice hits against the Reds last year. Joe Smith just retired. Jesse Schultens with the White Sox has been called up before. Sean Murphy with the Braves. I think I said that already. But bottom line is that the list of Raiders, Quincy Hamilton, another name that's on the verge of being called up. There's a lot of Raiders in the pipeline.
Raider up, baby.
So pretty cool as far as that's concerned. Kenner and Cab, 1410 ESPN Radio, Chatterbox Sports on YouTube. So Elliot's still upset with me. I see all caps guy coming at me too. Roger says, is Kinner going to go to the station manager if Wing AM doesn't win anything? Well, it's funny you mentioned that. Ask my GM what he thinks of me. He wishes I wouldn't complain about everything. Let's just put it that way. I actually do more to get more around here than Joey Votto did to get more. In fact, I'll say this. Castellanos put Reds ownership and management on blast when they didn't even try to, for one, he wanted to stay in Cincinnati. Nick Castellanos, he wanted to remain a Red. And, it's kind of similar stuff to the Bengals and Reds. They have a lot of similar, the narratives out there surrounding both are kind of similar a little bit. But when you have a star player like Nick Castellanos who's bearing the ownership about, not wanting to put a winner out there that the fans deserve more. I'm like, Nick Castellanos defended Reds fans and did more for the Reds organization just by standing up for them than Votto ever did during his time there. Joey Votto's an all-time great for the Reds, by the way. So Elliot thinks I hate him. He thinks I hate Joey Votto. I do not hate Joey Votto, but there is a lot. If people had to guess the people I hated, which hate is such a strong word, I'm 5'5" and fat. I don't have enough clout to hate anybody. Like, I'm the one that people hate. Let's just be real. But Kev, if you had to make a list of people that you think that Kinner hates, who would it be? Do you want to give yours first, or do you want to see some of these?
I definitely want to go
yes.
first. I definitely want to go first.
Right.
I want to get these out the way.
Okay.
We'll start out with the easy one. Number 5, any NBA player not named LeBron James.
The king. The greatest of all time. 3 championships, 3 different teams. Still going at, 21 seasons. Almost averaging a triple-double in this most recent playoff run, but continue. Okay.
All right. Number 4, let's travel down to Cincinnati. A wide receiver that plays for the Cincinnati Bengals, one Jamar Chase.
Yeah. I wonder if he'll be a good teammate and show up to Logan Wilson's charity softball game this upcoming year. This upcoming summer at Dayton Ballpark, by the way. Get your tickets. And Chad Johnson made time to come last year. T. Higgins, who Cincinnati
he's retired.
T. Higgins, though, wants to stay in Cincinnati. Cincinnati can't wait to get rid of him after this year. He showed up to support old Logan Wilson. Shout out T. Higgins. That's my guy.
Number 3, let's stay in Cincinnati with the Bengals. One Joey Burrow.
Oh, yeah.
Coming in at the number 3 spot.
Him and Votto would get along great. You know why? Remember after the Super Bowl? Not even an hour after the Bengals lose the Super Bowl. All the teammates, they're off doing their own thing. They're sulking. They're upset. They just lost the biggest game of their career. Not Joey B. He's up on stage wrapping it up with Kid Cudi. Just throwing it out there. That doesn't look like a guy that just lost his. They showed the video of Tom Brady on the field in tears after losing a Super Bowl. Not Joey B. He has his Dahmer glasses on. He's up on stage wrapping it up with Kid Cudi. Just living it. That's another guy. If we win, we win. We lose, we lose.
Let's stay with the Joeys and in Cincinnati.
It is a Joey thing in Cincinnati.
Number 2, Joey Votto.
Don't hate Joey Votto.
Yes, you do, dude.
Maybe that was more of a David Bell thing of continuously putting him in the lineup night after night after night. But yeah, they're not trying to, demand the ownership. How about when Phil Castellini said, "Where are you going to go?" and was basically burying all Reds fans, mocking Reds fans? Don't you think the face of the organization should come out and stand up for you, the Reds fans? He didn't do that. But don't hate him.
And don't hate him like Kenner does.
I don't hate him at all.
And coming in at number 1, and there's no debate.
Oh no.
The great coach of the UD Flyers, Mr. Anthony Grant, comes in at number 1 on Kenner's hate you list. So to recap, any NBA player not named LeBron James, he hates you. Jamar Chase, he hates you. Joe Burrow, he hates you. Joey Votto, he hates you. And Coach Anthony Grant, he already knows that you hate him.
But what if the hatred is like it's coming back at me equally? Like, AG don't like me. Anthony Grant does not like me one little tiny bit. So if that's the case, then it's kind of washed out. Like, it's even, right?
We call this rationalization, people.
It's called compartmentalization. So I feel better about it. I don't dislike AG. Look, the bottom line is, first of all of this is not personal.
I know this is all the first one you aren't backtracking on at all.
First of all of this stuff is based on just sports stuff. This isn't anything personal, so let's make sure we get that out of the way, because the word hate has such a strong word. We're just having a little fun. I don't hate anybody. Let's be clear. So we're having fun with this. I promise you there's the hate word, little strong, but I promise you it's not that much. But, dislike some sports character flaws with these individuals? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep.
What do you think on my list?
Justified? Number 1 is great. When Anthony Grant and the Flyers finally have the guts to play Wright State, I will take him off the list. I'll be the biggest AG apologist. average 55 points a game, I'll be a fan. You want to hear a peep out of me. I don't care. Just play Wright State. Stop making up excuses. Stop. You have an athletic director. Let him run the program. Don't let the boosters run your program. You know, just throw that out there. Play Wright State. I'll be a big AG fan.
I'm an AG fan.
You know?
I am.
I don't know what Joe Burrow could do. Look, I'm a Browns fan. I'm not going to like Joe Burrow. I'm not going to like Jamar Chase. But when it comes time to actually have a serious conversation about the Bengals and about the on-field product, I put that to the side. That ain't fair. Half these people don't even realize this stuff about me until a month and a half into this little joint. So I'm just saying.
So what
I'm afraid I haven't checked the chat. I'm afraid to check
What could Joey Votto do to get in your good graces?
Oh, it's too late now. His time has come and gone.
Coach AG can replenish himself. So can Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, but not Joey Votto. How about any other NBA player not named LeBron James? How can they get in your good graces?
I don't know. That one's kind of different. I mean, look, it's more love for LeBron than anything else. I don't hate everybody else. I might put MJ fans up there. No offense. You should replace that one with MJ fans. Because just saying, me and you, we go back. I don't have my MJ.
Oh, okay.
I have my Vans. I have my Vans. Anyways.
Do you own any LeBrons?
Oh God, no! But I own a couple pair of Jordans. I own a couple pair of Jordans, which is very,
As the Jordan stand on this here show, I do think it is the dumbest thing in the world when people try to bring in the shoe argument to a basketball debate. Like, hey man, you're buying Jordans, not buying LeBrons. I think that is the dumbest thing in the world. Absolutely has absolutely nothing to do with basketball.
I grew up poor as poor can be, so I was a big Stephon Marbury fan. Remember
Starberries, baby.
Yeah, yeah. I think you can get them like $15 or $20. Like, yeah, it was like something insanely affordable. So,
what was the name of that store that they were at?
That's what I was just about to ask you. I don't remember. I do remember.
They had one in Centerville.
So before every basketball season, I'd go buy 2 pairs of those because you'd get the pair from your school. But then I would go buy a couple pairs of those so that I'd wear those at practice and run those into the ground. And then, my shoes look nice and shiny when I sit the bench on game day. So is what it is. Brad Mays, I was hoping Brad wasn't going to catch the LeBron. Brad's a very, very good friend of mine, and he's not a big LeBron guy either, So he caught me drooling over LeBron over here.
See, he agrees with me.
I like an NBA player when one of them plays defense. Ron Howard says Shaw. So this is on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page now, but Ron Howard says Shaw.
Shaw came in at my number 7 spot.
Doug Toby says, what do you want Joey to do? Get him. Oh, this is why I got to proofread some of these things. But like I said earlier.
I could only imagine what it said.
So, like I said earlier, when no valid, I feel like regardless of whether you like my Joey Votto argument or not, I could tell when I've made a lot of really good points when you can't counter with any good points, so you got to make the Deshaun Watson jokes as if he has anything to do with Joey Votto and the Cincinnati Reds. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm just throwing that out there. So, you lose, Doug Toby. Nice try, though. Ron Howard says, you hate Joe Burrow. David Shaw says, there's names I can't put on this list. Ryan Strong sent in a list. He goes, Burrow, Chase, Votto, T.J. Watt. T.J. Watt, he's honorable mention, especially after the not showing up to the awards ceremony, crybaby, and then, tweeting out subliminally so that people knew that he didn't win it, which basically gave it away, so there was no true reaction to my guy Myles Garrett, coming away with the hardware. Then my co-host thinks that TJ Watt should have won it. That just makes it even worse.
Look at the impact.
Just a homer. Steelers fan,
Impact on games, baby. Impact.
Shaw does say the national champion Michigan Wolverines. I mean, cheaters. I hate cheaters. I hate cheaters, and I hate people who support cheaters, as far as that goes. But anyways, I haven't checked the chat, so I'm gonna go to commercial break so I don't get sidetracked here, and then maybe we'll resalvage what is supposed. It doesn't matter. The rundown is just there for a suggestion, right? We'll be right back. Kidder and Cab, 1410 ESPN. I want to get to this Kelsey Conway article. That's what. Did that thing die?
I don't know what is up with it.
Yeah, we're about to light this place on fire with this heater. Like something smells really bad, like it's burning. Boom. We'll be right back. Maybe.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free, with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit, hims.com/joy.
Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken has the best fast food fried chicken. Sure, it sounds like an opinion, till you hear that USA Today readers said the same thing. Get a taste of it with the Famous Favorites Variety Box. Available at a great low price. With 5 hand-breaded strips and 5 pieces of crispy golden bone-in chicken, it's perfect for feeding your whole crew. Only at Lee's, famous for chicken.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
What's up? I'm tired of feeling so bloated. That used to be me. Then I got this. Align Bloating Relief plus food digestion. A probiotic, right? Yeah, it works naturally with your gut to help soothe occasional bloating and gas. Plus, it has vitamin B12 to aid digestion by helping convert food to cellular energy. 2 benefits, 1 capsule.
Align Bloating Relief plus food digestion from the #1 doctor-recommended probiotic brand. Learn more at alignprobiotics.com.
Progressive knows finding your new home was a dream come true. You wanted a walk-up with central air and a skylight, and you found it. Now, every Friday night, you get to fall asleep to the sound of your downstairs neighbors' dance parties. Progressive can't save you from your noisy neighbors, but we can save you money when you bundle your home and auto with us. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Hey, let me tell you about the advantages of driving with my friends at Cordell Transportation. First of all, for the new year, they're offering brand new equipment to drive. They purchased new equipment, and not a lot of people could say that, but they've got it, and they're ready to roll with you. Cordell Transportation is offering an incredible $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months. If you're an experienced Class A CDL driver looking for excellent benefits, home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freights, then apply today online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Remarkable change begins with daring to be different. Baby, I'm on a mission with Boost Mobile, putting the latest phones in the hands of more people. Introducing the Signature Coach Prime Razor, only from Boost Mobile. Rush to your nearest Boost Mobile retailer and get your Signature Coach Prime Razor on us. Get after it.
When you switch in with ID verification, select plans only. Offer valid 4/19/24 through 5/23/24. While supplies last. Taxes extra. New customers only. Must remain active and in good standing on the $60 a month plan for 6 months to receive all credits. Offer subject to change.
Silence is golden, especially when it comes to brakes. That's why Napa Silent Guard are built to be one of the smoothest and most quiet brakes on the market. Made with fiber-reinforced shims that eliminate noise for the life of the pad, rubber-coated hardware for a better fit, and quality design that meets and exceeds OE performance. Silent Guard brakes deliver the stopping power drivers demand. Available now at Napa locations nationwide.
Save big money and start your spring project with help from Menards. We offer a huge selection of bonnie plants, veggies, and herbs to plant at home and grow yourself. Right now, all 4.5-inch bonnie plants are on sale through May 5th. Head to the Menards Garden Center to get your garden growing and check out our weekly flyer on menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Discover wants everyone to feel special with live 24/7 customer service. Limitations apply. See terms at discover.com/credit card.
Reds fans, you can catch Tom and Marty Brenneman every Wednesday on Off the Bench with Trace Fowler right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. You can also stream 1410 ESPN Radio on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, and we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. Having a little fun with this. I promise, don't actually hate anybody. Just to clarify, the word hate. I don't hate anybody, but, you know.
Boom, boom, boom.
That's Kev's reaction. Boom, boom, boom.
We don't believe
That's his version of no comment. Yeah. We welcome you back again. All because of Elliot bringing up the Votto thing. Shaw says, so Shaw's reaction to the trade, thing about Votto, saying, so because he demands a trade, that doesn't mean that the Angels or Reds have to trade him. T and Hendrickson have demanded a trade. They are still in the Bengals. Just because you demand something, that doesn't mean that something has to happen. It's not really so much about whether or not the trade request or demand, whether the Reds or Bengals follow through with it. It's the fact that, so T. Higgins and Hendrickson, they're both putting their foot down saying, hey, there's a reputation with the Cincinnati Bengals of how they've handled contracts in the past. We're not going to just sit by and say, oh, that's just how the Bengals do things. Well, this is how I do things. This is completely different. With the Votto thing, again, I can't believe we're spending this much time on it, but whatever. I'm the one doing it, right? So it's my fault. But it would have been one of those like, hey, he wasn't happy. He wanted out, and they just wouldn't do it, yada, yada, yada. Okay, cool. But like Healy showed his displeasure, but he never even once showed that displeasure at all. How they were willing to, you waived your no trade. Tell us where you want to go. No, none of that. And there were multiple reports, even throughout his time in Cincinnati, of that. But I think we could be done with that, right? We could be done with that. Move on. Did I tease anything before? Horrible radio.
Supposed to go to the chat.
Oh, the chat. Well, it's a lot of mean things being said.
About whom?
Everyone keeps going to the Deshaun Watson thing as if I am like a big Deshaun Watson fan.
Well, you can skip over those.
Then we got nothing.
Oh, then we're going to the Higgins article then.
But yeah, hold on. Let me just, proofread a couple more. Let me just make sure. Let's see.
We got nothing. If it's
these are all about, everyone is just laying in about Deshaun.
I'm about to go in there and read them for myself.
I'm not a Deshaun Watson defender, though. I'm just not. But, from a quarterback, I'm going to judge him based on what he does as a quarterback. But this idea that, people always pick and choose. By the way, aren't most of you fans of never mind. Let's just see, it brings out, y'all's bad behavior brings out that in me. I just got to be on my best behavior. So we'll do that. Do we have time? We only have a couple more minutes left. Do we have time for the Conway article? Maybe we can hold on.
Bring that to the top.
That's
a pretty in-depth situation.
So what? Oh yeah, we'll carry that over.
If I can find this, I think this would be pretty cool since it was a filler.
Oh yeah, great.
Right. And I know it was something that I wanted to do before the playoffs started, but now I can't find where the heck I saved it on my phone.
Look that up.
Great.
No,
radio,
but
right?
I had this saved because
okay.
This Magic Johnson, he tweeted this out.
Oh my God,
he's on fire today. I don't know if there are a lot of poop tweets. I think he was on. I think he had
Okay, I found it just in case.
He's having a bad day. I think he's having some upset stomach issues, and I think he's just putting out poop tweets left and right, man. I think he just. I've never seen him do this. It was just one after another, and some of them didn't even make sense, which is common for Magic Johnson. But Magic Johnson said the Lakers have nobody but themselves to blame for the first round exit. In 5 against the Nuggets, they wouldn't have been in the play-in game or finished as a 7th seed this season if they hadn't lost too many games because of load management. Well, regular season games missed among the notable Lakers on the roster. LeBron James only missed 11 games. We've talked about the health of Anthony Davis being a much improved run this year for the Lakers. He only missed 6. D'Angelo Russell only missed 6. And Hachimura only missed 14. And Austin Reeves didn't miss any games. There was no, for one of the older, I guess I should say more well-balanced rosters in the NBA, there was no load management with the Lakers. So, yeah, people just kind of letting Magic have it today.
Absolutely. This is one of the worst takes in decades. This is just horrible. The Lakers won 47 games. That's very good. That's a lot of wins. Unfortunately, everybody else in the conference won 57, 57, 56, 51, 50, 49, which landed them in the 7th spot. So I appreciate this, not only from him, from Charles Barkley, from Shaq, from a lot of these people that are on TV that we watch on a nightly basis talking about the game that we love, that they don't watch basketball. Because obviously Magic Johnson has no clue what he's talking about. Now, look, man, I met Magic Johnson before. Great guy. One of the best basketball players of all time. In my humble opinion, the second best point guard of all time. But he doesn't watch basketball because if he did watch his precious Lakers, he would have known that AD played 76 games this year. He would have known LeBron played 71 games this season. Where is it that there's a load management? They played that many games to make sure they got their way into the playoffs. And the other thing about it is people like Magic Johnson that are former Lakers and now Lakers fans think it's their birthright to go ahead and play for championships. At some point, we just got to realize there's better teams. There's just better teams. The Nuggets are a better team. We could talk about like, oh, man, they got swept, but all those games were close last year, but you got swept. We could talk about, oh, man, all those games this year were close. You lost 4-1. That means the Nuggets are a better team. That's just the reality of it. And one of my best friends, he's hitting me up like, what can the Lakers do to get over the hump? I'm like, dude, go find Jokic. Go find a dude in the second round that nobody wanted. That's how you get better than him.
It's easy.
It's easy. It's as simple as this, man. They're better than y'all. There's nothing that you could do to just make you better than them. He's the best player in the league. Just like LeBron was the best player in the league, and there was nothing anybody could do to stop it. When Jordan was the best player in the league, there was nothing you could do. When Olajuwon was the best guy in the league, there was nothing you could do. When Shaq was the best guy in the league, there was nothing you could do. Like, at some point, fans need to realize, like, there's not just a magic button to push, like, oh, man, we make this trade, we're going to be better than them. We do this, we're going to be better. We're right there. No, man, it's their turn. It's their turn, and that's how this thing goes, especially in the NBA. You go back to the 80s, it was Bird and Magic's turn. You go to the early 90s, it was the Pistons' turn. You go to the mid to 90s, it was the Bulls' turn. You go to the 2000s, it was the Spurs and the Lakers' turn. You go to the 2010s, it was LeBron's turn. Like, that's how this goes. It's your turn is up. And guess what, LeBron? It's been a hell of a run. It's been 21 years. And guess what? When you come back next year to the Lakers, because you're not leaving, everybody knows you're coming back to the Lakers. Like, I don't know what this whole thing is about. Like, oh, maybe I will, maybe I won't. You're not going to the Knicks. You're not coming back to the Cavs. You're not going to the Mavericks. You're going to be staying with the Lakers. They're going to do everything possible to make you happy, as they should. But you'll be in contention. You'll give them a good run for their money. But we got to realize, man, that these young guns is on their way up, and it's just their turn. It's just their turn. And then that doesn't mean like, oh, man, the Lakers should just go ahead and concede and just, hey, man, y'all can do it. They'll give him a good run for their money because he's that good.
Yeah, too. Something that's crazy. I saw this. No LeBron, Kevin Durant, or Steph Curry in the second round for the first time since 2005.
Year 21, year 19 for Kevin Durant. I believe this is year like 17 for Steph.
I don't think it's but I don't think, like, of all those three, LeBron is head and shoulders better than the other two still playing right now. The way he's playing, like, I don't think this was a LeBron thing. It's a LeBron thing because of how much power that they give him.
No, it's not a LeBron thing. It's not LeBron's fault that they lost. It's not AD's fault that they lost. It's this, man. They got the better player, and their third guy is better than your third guy. So let's just pretend that, that AD and Joker cancel each other out, even though Joker is above him. Okay, fine, whatever. And let's say LeBron is above, Murray. Okay, those two initially cancel each other out. Their third guy, Michael Porter Jr., is way better than D'Angelo Russell. Look, we're in Ohio State country. He's a former Buckeye. But D'Angelo Russell has been inconsistent NBA player since he stepped foot in the NBA. There's a reason why he's played for the Lakers, the T-Wolves, the Warriors, and the Nets, and now back to the Lakers. He's a roller coaster. It's up and down. It's up and down. So this series, up and down, up and down. One game, good game. Next game, bad game. Up, down. He's not consistent. He's not a consistent basketball player. So you get way better play out of Michael Porter Jr., their third guy. Then you go ahead and look at the other third guy, which would be Reeves for the Lakers. So let's just pretend that he's the third guy. Michael Porter Jr. is way more talented than him. So their third guy is the key to them winning because their third guy is better than both your third guys combined. He's better than your third and fourth guy.
Which is why, for everyone out there that said that they tuned out over the last decade of basketball because the super team era took over, right? Now, I see the ups and downs. I see the pros and cons to the super team era. Like the super team era was very unique because you saw guys team up. Which is still kind of a BS narrative. This idea that great players never teamed up to play together is just absolutely ridiculous. Now obviously Shaq and Kobe, that was, an acquisition of Shaq from the Magic, and you paired them up, of course. The Bulls, yes, it was MJ and Scottie Pippen, but it took you having to add pieces around them before they took off in the 90s, of course. And by the same thing with the Celtics and all that. So this idea that teams, it was LeBron, the first guy that ever made guys come together to form a team. It was just done in a different way. But everyone said they're not watching anymore because the super teams have ruined basketball. Well, guess what? You can come back now because there's no super teams left. I think the closest thing is when the Mavericks added Kyrie Irving. That's the only roster that is stacked from adding a superstar out of free agency to a roster. Outside of that, everything else is pretty much like these homegrown teams. I know Milwaukee's about to be knocked out by the Pacers, so maybe you can make that argument there. But
you can make an argument about the Clippers being a super team, at least on paper.
But I guess it's the NBA
contending
the
to
contenders.
Win.
Because Kawhi's being out, I'm not putting the Clippers there. That it's the same. It's not their fault. We get that, but it's like, man, it just stinks. This way, Celtics with Porzingis. That's another team.
Clockwork.
Yeah.
Bro. Clockwork.
Yep.
It's a war of attrition in the
They
playoffs.
should have sat him during the season. I don't know why teams don't do that more. I don't know why they just don't you know what, we need you more in the playoffs. We should sit you more during the regular season. I think fans should support that,
Yeah, man. You look at the playoffs in the NBA, these games come fast and furious. And, there are rest days built in there in the regular season. But in the playoffs, hey, man, you got to get out there and play. And that's why we're seeing so many guys with calf strains. And I'll say this till I'm blue in the face. The last time we saw somebody of this magnitude with a calf strain was Kevin Durant in the NBA Finals, and he popped his Achilles. So anybody out there, Giannis, Dame, who are both dealing with calf issues, shut it down, man.
Bengals fan,
shut it down.
Not trying to always make it back to football, but yes, Bengals fans know. That calf strain, even when he came back, he was not the same. You're not going to be the same. You have to 100% fully heal from that.
You got to let that joint heal, man. You got to let it heal. But my whole thing is, man, this league is in very good hands once, the Durants and Stephs and LeBrons eventually hang it up. If people took the time out to watch what OKC is doing, and they took the time out to respect the fact that you look at the Denver Nuggets roster, their three best players, like you just said, are all homegrown. These are players that were drafted. You drafted Joker in the second round. You got Murray in the bottom half of the lottery. You got Michael Porter Jr. in the bottom half of the lottery. And think about it, Michael Porter Jr. didn't play his first 2 years in the NBA because of the back situation.
He was drafted injured. He had injury issues coming into the league.
Yeah. So you want a homegrown team? There's a homegrown team. Oh, you don't like them? That's cool. You got Oklahoma City, homegrown team. You got Chet. You got Jalen Williams. You got all these dudes that are homegrown guys. So there's tons of homegrown, quote-unquote, talent out there. You look at the Pacers, a ton of homegrown guys done the old school way. So have the Celtics. I'm not sure, why people are just foot down, we're not watching the NBA. Oh, they don't play hard. You mean to tell me that the Celtics won 64 games this season and they didn't play hard? And their best two players played 81 games this season. Jaylen Brown and Tatum played 81 games. That don't sound like load management to me. It sounds like people have a narrative that was when they kind of stopped watching basketball, and that's the narrative that they like to run with, and they're going to continue to run with it instead of checking back in to say, okay, what's going on with the league now? Okay, I checked out for 4 or 5 years. What's up now? No, they have the narrative, and they're starting with it. Nope, they don't play defense. Nope, they don't play hard. That I'm not watching. Well, go take a look and go look at the stats and look how many games these dudes are playing. Look how many minutes these guys are playing. Look at the defense. The defense isn't going to be played like the Knicks in the 90s. You can't do that anymore. There is no Anthony Davis. The only Anthony Davis guy in the league is Draymond Green, and every time he does something of that ilk, you want him suspended forever. So which is it? You want roughhouse defense or you don't want roughhouse defense? You want dudes playing or you don't want dudes playing? I don't get it. And for people that didn't watch what Joel Embiid did the other night, not the night before, where they ultimately lost. He scored 50 points on one leg and paralysis of the face. So people that don't know what Bell palsy is, he's basically having facial issues where he can't move half of his face. So when he's trying to blink, he can't blink. So he has to get eye drops because his eye is drying out. So he's playing with one leg and a half of a face and dropping 50 points. That's crazy. We talk about Jordan and flu game. Bell's palsy in one leg. We talk about Isaiah Thomas in the NBA Finals scoring 25 points in the fourth quarter on a bad ankle. One leg, one eye.
But he's
50
also,
points.
He's also the guy that stubs his toe and he's out for 6 months. So
That
I'm
is
just, no,
true.
Joking.
That is true.
But when I read that the other day, I'm like, that's not like a minor little medical thing, man.
That's not a normal basketball situation. Like, oh, I tweaked my ankle. Oh, my back is flaring up. Like, dude, can't move part of his face.
So, and everything you've said is true. Like, there's a lot. I mean, I've never doubted the talent that's in the NBA, but we talked about this a lot after the women's college basketball season. Like, some of the jealousy that is kind of showing for Caitlin Clark is that the players currently in the WNBA feel we have a ton of talent here. Caitlin Clark's not like, it's not like we're a bunch of bums and she's coming in and she's going to show us how to play. That's kind of what the NBA is. People keep talking about what the next face of the league is going to be, like when LeBron and KD and Steph and these guys are out. And you said the league's in good hands. The league's in good hands talent-wise, but they the thing about who's going to be the next face, who's that next superstar that, like, there's a lot of great names, but Joker and all these guys, to non-basketball fans, tell me about the Denver Nuggets. They ain't going to be able to tell you. This isn't a shot on the NBA. It's just the reality of it.
He's the fat dude, the fat white dude that can't jump. That's the best player in the league. That's who he is.
But no doubt. But like,
so that destroys any narrative or any, like, hey man, you have to be tall and super athletic to play this game of basketball. No, you have to have skill, and he has skill for decades.
So, like, before, non-basketball fans knew who LeBron was.
Right.
And non-basketball fans knew who Shaq was.
Right.
Non-basketball fans knew who Michael Jordan was. Non-basketball fans knew who Magic Johnson was. So, it's never a question. And, by the way, there was always talent between those. MJ retired. There was still Shaq, or there was still, obviously Robinson, and there was still Tim Duncan. The Spurs were getting hot right around that time.
Kobe.
Allen Iverson and Dikembe Mutombo with those Sixers. There's always talent in the league, but okay, MJ's out. Now who's the next face? Because there was a little stretch where there was no face of the league for a bit, and then there was Shaq going to L.A., putting that star in that big pool, and then it takes off. So that's the big question mark now is, of course, there's talent across the league, but is there a face of the league? There is a difference. Not the best player. Just because you're the best player in the league doesn't mean you're the face of the league. I always get in this argument with baseball people all the time. Well, who's the Reds' ace? Do the Reds have an ace? I think Nick Lodolo is officially the ace, but I'm not a believer that every team has an ace. Everyone thinks, the best pitcher.
Ace on paper.
Yeah. Everyone thinks that the best pitcher is your ace. No, some staffs just don't have an ace. And that's the reality of it. The Reds have gone a long time without an ace, and I think Nick Lodolo has ace-like stuff right now.
That makes sense.
So that's the same thing with the NBA. NBA has a ton of talent, but do they have the ace? Do they have that face of the league? I read something today. Anthony Edwards might be that guy because right now, LeBron is the most social, as far as anyone that has anything to comment on social media. LeBron is brought up on social media more than any other NBA player out there. Only one that gets more love right now in the last month is Anthony Edwards.
Amen.
No other player. No other player is coming close to the amount of social media love he's getting. Now, for our older listeners who don't put a lot of stock into that, I'm here to tell you, I always feel old at 34 years old when our corporate offices are talking to us now about the importance of social media numbers being more important than even the website numbers at this point, which is pretty wild. So that matters. So the social media numbers and the engagement and everything, that's telling you, okay, they might have something as far as that's concerned. So we'll see. But there's always been talent. LeBron could have retired last year. There would have been talent, but there wouldn't have been a face of the league. We might be seeing that embarking on that, and maybe Wembanyama could be that too.
Yeah,
San Antonio.
I mean, you look at Anthony Edwards. Not only obviously what he's doing on the basketball court, but like he's bringing that flair to the game. You look at the sweep of the Suns and the amount of trash talking he was doing to his idol, like. Kevin Durant is his idol.
He said he bought his jersey when he was a kid, all this stuff.
And my goal is to send him home. Like, that's what you want out of your competitors. Like, you talk about, like, baseball players not competing and not wanting to play for a winner. Like, it don't get any better than that. I mean, speaking from a younger brother's perspective, there was nothing more in the world than I wanted to do than to beat my brother at something.
Can I interrupt you real quick? Remember people complain, like, I was kind of one of them. I hated the jersey swaps after games and all this stuff. If the truly competitive people, they hate your guts that day. MJ, Charles Barkley, all that stuff, he hated I guess they don't really like each other now. But the point is, MJ would get salty with his own teammate. Like the ultimate Kobe, the same thing. We hear about those old school competitors. Kevin Garnett I think that Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, that was the last of that era of guys that just truly, if you're not with us, we just hate your guts. So people, including me, I hate watching guys buddy it up before games, buddy it up after. I don't know why. It drives me nuts. It's like when we were growing up watching basketball, you truly felt that they hated each other. Whether they did or not, you truly felt that. So for those people who missed that, to your point, that's a little bit of that old school mentality of, hey, Kevin Durant was my idol, but I'm not going to sit there and smile and joke with him during a game. No, I want to send him home. I want to show him up. I want to outplay him, and that's what he did as far as that's concerned.
They talked to him and Karl Anthony Towns in the postgame after the sweep, and they asked Anthony Edwards, what did he tell Kevin Durant? He said, enjoy Cancun. Like, that's awesome.
Yep. Hey, want to take a selfie? Want to take like
not I see you in Paris in the Olympics. Hey, dog, enjoy Cancun. We're still playing. You're watching. And KD said, I can't do nothing but respect that. Like, that's what you're supposed to do. And, I mean, I would encourage everybody, don't watch the Cavs tonight, whatever you do, because whatever the hell they got going on right now.
Jared Allen might not play. He's questionable.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he's hurt.
Oh, and then they're losing. Because he's the only player on the team that acts like he wants to play basketball. Everybody else on that Cavaliers roster is playing scared.
Let me pull it up. Yeah, as of a couple hours ago, before the show started, he was listed
Maybe
as questionable.
Maybe I should be happy it's coming on NBA TV, so I can't watch. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Bruh.
Yeah. We got some more of this coming up around the corner because the Cavs NBA playoff action coming up tonight. Brad, what up, bro? Where did Brad go? Oh yeah, Brad said, Edwards is a dog, and I don't even know what team he plays for.
Wolves.
He will be a household name. Brad also wants our thoughts. Do we think Bronny is actually good? I brought up Bronny a little bit ago. There are reports that are now starting to come out. Look, I think reporters have been sitting on this, just waiting for when the Lakers officially got booted. But I think the Lakers right now, LeBron last night, all of a sudden he's asked about, have you thought about the fact that might have been your last game as a Laker? And he goes, I'm not going to answer that. Of course, he knows what he's doing, playing the media. But it's not a coincidence that less than 24 hours later, Kev, a report comes out earlier today that the Lakers are willing to pursue Bronny James to allow LeBron to fulfill his lifelong dream of playing with his son in the NBA. That, to me, like the Lakers, as good as LeBron is, the Lakers should be having the sense of, we're the Lakers. If you want to go, go. Pat Riley's like that with the Miami Heat. He's watched good players leave before, and he'll do it again. The Lakers are doing this. We'll draft your son. We'll draft your son. Anything, LeBron. Anything, so we can continue to fight to get into the play-in and fight to get swept in the first round and in 5. But I could see the Lakers doing that. I could see them drafting Bronny just to keep LeBron happy and all this stuff. But here's where I'm starting to detach from LeBron. Like, I thought this was all about chasing MJ. Like, I know you said he ain't gonna go Mavs. He ain't gonna go here. He ain't gonna go to the Knicks, win another ring. All right, go back to the Cavs, win them another ring. Go win. But if this isn't about rings, then I don't care. I really don't care. Like, I'm a big LeBron guy. I'm a bigger LeBron fan than most people. But it's kind of disrespectful to fans and everyone, especially the fans like me who've defended his legacy and tried to convince people, that. But then if it really is just about coming back every single year and just competing for a play-in spot and getting to the Western Conference Finals last year, I mean, that was huge, right? That was huge. But then to go out the way they did and just that's the ceiling for what he is now. People will bury him if he does the whole, I'm going to go back to Cleveland, I'm going to go to the Knicks, and, oh, look, he's chasing rings. I like that. I like when athletes have that competitive drive that say, this is about winning championships. MJ, it was about winning championships. I don't feel like it's like that for LeBron anymore. That's where my detachment with him is starting to come into play. Kind of like a similar situation with former Cincinnati Red, Mr. Joey Votto,
I dig what you're saying, but we have to realize that this is his job. We look at it as sports and entertainment. This is his job. There's listeners out there who stay at a job that they don't like because of financial gain. Like, hey, man, they pay me good money. I had another
like
job.
Me here.
Yeah. I had another job offered to go somewhere else. The money was comparable, but, we're comfortable here. I don't want to take my kids out of school and uproot my whole life, and I'm going to just stay here. It'll be all good. And there's a lot worse places to live and make millions of dollars than California, so he's not going anywhere. And the Lakers will be drafting Bronny James probably in the first round to make him happy. There's going to be a conversation had between LeBron, Rich Paul, Jeannie Buss, and Rob Pelinka, a handshake agreement about drafting Bronny James because nobody's going to draft Bronny James before they draft him. He's going to be a Laker. That say that he's going. I mean, this isn't a big deal. I mean, Giannis' brother is on the Bucks, taking up a roster spot. Like, this happens all the
Kostas
time.
Antetokounmpo, let's be clear, when the future of Giannis was kind of up in the air as far as his future in Milwaukee, the Lakers, remember, Kostas Antetokounmpo played at Dayton, has an NBA championship ring.
Yes, sir.
He was part of that
In the
Lakers team
bubble.
that won the bubble, okay?
Yeah.
And the only reason, this isn't a shot at Kostas, it's just the reality of it. It's the same reason why his brothers are on the Bucks and that. Kostas was added to the Lakers because there was reports behind the scenes that the Lakers were, if Giannis would enter free agency, that the Lakers were going to make a heavy push at him. That's why Kostas was on that roster. And once that he re-upped with the Bucks, guess who wasn't a Laker anymore after that? Kostas Antetokounmpo. So, like, teams, there are pawns all across the league. This happens all the dang time. And this is also a historically bad draft according to NBA, prognosticators out there. Been following the draft coverage, because we're trying to see what's going to happen with De'Ron Holmes. Everyone is saying how historically bad this draft is. Well, if there was ever a draft to be aggressive and take a chance, like an offensive lineman who only 8 starts, this is when you this is the draft that you say, hey, I want LeBron, I'll draft Bronny. We'll take him. If it doesn't work out, oh well, at least it gave us a shot to get LeBron versus drafting some random name that we know isn't going to make it because this draft is so bad. So I don't know. I'll be curious to see if you think the Lakers do it.
Yeah, they got to keep Bron happy. Whatever Bron wants, he's going to get with the Lakers. Like, there's a reason why he left the Miami Heat, because whatever Bron wanted, he wasn't getting with the Heat. It was like, hey man, I want this. It's a give and take type of situation. It was a collaborative thing. For the most part, his second run with the Cavs, whatever Bron wanted, he got. And when you're the best player and you're getting teams to the NBA Finals year after year and packing downtown, packing the arena, making everybody else millions of dollars. All those restaurants in Cleveland were packed 42 nights a week. During the NBA season, playoffs, hey, man, do what he wants, because guess what? We're making money. Same thing goes in Los Angeles. You want to make sure this place is packed. You want to sell more merch. You want everybody happy. Do what the man wants. Draft his son. It's fine. It's not that big of a deal. And guess what? He's going to be on a rookie deal. Tell him you draft him in the second round or something. Just do it. Get the contract done with LeBron. Give him his $60 million a year because he's worth every single penny. Draft his son. And play ball. Like, it is what it is.
This is going to be
and it's so you're the LeBron guy. I love LeBron too. It always comes off that I don't love LeBron.
Oh, really?
I love LeBron.
Let's make Kev's top 5 hated list. See, like, it's the same thing. You're doing what I'm doing. I like LeBron. I
love LeBron, but I think this is a no-brainer. Like, I don't even know why this is even a discussion. Of course the Lakers are going to offer him every penny. Of course the Lakers should draft his son. Why wouldn't they? I mean, there's guys that get free agency deals that don't get drafted out of college and football with teams that that their parents played for or have connections to or whatever. You give them a shot, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Because guess what? After LeBron signs this 3-year deal, he'll probably be done. And then if Bronny doesn't work out, they'll be like, "All right, man, peace out, kid.
You and your son, get the hell out of here.
Get out of here."
Oh yeah.
How's your other son? How good is he?
Yeah, that's the one.
How's the daughter? We got the Sparks. So we'll take her too. Like, it is what it is, man. I have absolutely no problem. I just have a problem with people having an issue with it, using the drastic word nepotism. LeBron's using nepotism to get his kids in place. This country is built on nepotism. So LeBron's doing it, and it's a problem. I have absolutely no problem with it at all.
Kinner and Kev, 1410 ESPN Radio, Chatterbox Sports on YouTube.
Bronny.
We have a Lakers fan in the chat. The reason I know we have a Lakers fan in the chat, his name is Ohio Lakers 513. So, but he says leave Bryce alone. But,
hey, I don't know how good this kid is.
He said Bron is the GOAT. Leave Bryce alone. Let's see what else we got from him.
Whatever makes LeBron happy, do it.
Roger says if they draft Bronny in the second round, they will be better. I think that's sarcasm. I think that's a little sarcasm. Someone threw Ron Harper's name out there regarding last time Ron Harper was on these airwaves.
You got the dump button ready?
He broke some FCC rules, but now he was sharing some recruiting stories from back in the day. It was about Don Donaher and Don Donaher's recruiting effort to get him to come to Dayton at the time, and obviously he'd committed to play at Miami of Ohio. But yeah, that was a very entertaining back and forth between him and KB. But
last thing on the Lakers, for me at least, I know we got to go to break. I
appreciate what you're doing because we don't open this door often, so that's why I'm sitting back. I'm like, no, the door's open, keep going, because we don't talk NBA a lot, so I want to make sure.
So this part like I said, has absolutely nothing to do with LeBron James or Anthony Davis. They did their part. For anybody, I'm breaking up inside.
Man.
Let me start from the top.
Do we need
Allergies, bruh. Okay, so this absolutely has nothing to do with LeBron James, Anthony Davis. This has everything to do with Lakers fans. For all the Lakers fans that told me that D-Lo had it figured out, D-Lo has been a roller coaster his entire career. For every Lakers fan that said that Austin Reeves was the missing link, Austin Reeves is a good NBA player. He's a good NBA player. He's not your number 3 guy. Austin Reeves should be like your 4 or 5 guy. He's not your number 3 guy. And on a lot of nights, he was the number 3 guy. But that's stuff that people already know. This is the thing that irked me the most. Earlier in the year, when they signed Christian Wood, and people tried to tell me that Christian Wood was going to finally be unlocked.
Unleashed.
I was like, wait, what? You mean Christian Wood, who played for the Pistons, who played for the Rockets, who played for the Mavs? That Christian Wood? Christian Wood did not play because Christian Wood is not a good NBA player. This is for the people who tried to tell me Cam Reddish was going to be unlocked playing with LeBron James. Christian Wood and Cam Reddish are not good NBA players. Cam Reddish flamed out with the Hawks, the Knicks, the Trailblazers, and now the Los Angeles Lakers. So for people that constantly try to tell me about what guys are going to do when they get with LeBron James, stop it. These dudes ain't good at basketball, at pro basketball. They're good at the YMCA. They're good at pickup, but they're not good at the NBA level. There's a reason why Austin Reeves plays more than Cam Reddish, because he knows what he's doing. He knows his role, and Cam Reddish does not. Cam Reddish thinks he's back at Duke. Cam Reddish, no PT in the playoffs. Could be because he's hurt. Could be because he's not good. Christian Wood, Cam Reddish, stop it. And that's not to them. That's to the fans out there who try to tell me that. Because once I saw the rest of the roster, I was like, oh, yeah, well, Austin Reeves is going to get way more burned than him because Austin Reeves is a better pro.
Well, the thing is, LeBron's going to opt out of his contract coming up and then re-sign and get 50 to 60. And this is those names you mentioned. That was going to be like the Smush Parker era of the Lakers. So remember when Kobe's last run with the Lakers, I mean, that was a horrible roster. But that was a horrible roster due to Kobe's like, I never once took every dollar that I had coming to me. This is my last run, so I'm going to take every dollar that's coming to me. So if Lakers fans were down over the last couple years, it's about to get even worse if that's the case. So
yeah, with the new luxury tax and stuff.
Because 50, 60 mil a year is what he can get
Yeah.
on the max extension coming up. So
Yeah, it's supposed to be 60 for 3 years. And you know what? He's worth every penny, and they need to pay up. The great American poet Jay-Z said, I'm overcharging for what they did to the Cold Crush. So LeBron is overcharging the Lakers for taking discounts with the Heat. Sorry.
And if I'm the Lakers, I say, your discount is just taking your bum-ass kid and giving him a jersey. We won't even charge him for the jersey. No. But, yeah, I mean, at this point, it is. It's my last chance to get a big contract. And
He tried to buy an NBA team, man. He need all his money. And Lakers, y'all going to help him buy an NBA team by coughing up this $60 million a year. Pay up. Just a kid from Akron. Pay that man. Pay that man his money.
Kenner and Cab, 1410 ESPN Radio. Chatterbox Sports on YouTube. When we come back, we'll dive into the Kelsey Conway article. Kelsey Conway, according to a couple reports, just more information, behind-the-scenes info regarding the back and forth between T. Higgins, his camp, and the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati, I don't know whose side everyone's taking on this. Cincinnati looks kind of shady in this situation. We'll talk about that when we come back. Bengals versus T. Higgins. Don't go anywhere.
Hey there, you in aisle 2. I see you by the fiber and laxatives. You still using those to manage your constipation with belly pain? If your symptoms keep coming back, you may have irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C. So you may need more than over-the-counter treatments to manage it. Ask your doctor about how Linzess can help you get ahead of it.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Tyler from Wendy's here. The best part of Wendy's new Cinnabon Pull-Apart is every part. Unlike mornings, which have no good parts. Until now. Because with Wendy's new breakfast Cinnabon Pull-Apart, mornings finally don't completely suck. And now that mornings have warm cinnamon sugar rolled dough and ooey gooey frosting, are they the best part of every day? Probably not, but you get the idea. Get to Wendy's today and get the best part in every bite with the new Cinnabon Pull-Apart.
At participating U.S. Wendy's, Cinnabon is a registered trademark of Cinnabon Franchise or SPV, LLC.
It's a mystery where Old Spice finds its amazing scents like Himalayan sea salt, but I'm thrilled they have because no other body wash exfoliates and moisturizes 24/7 like Old Spice Gentleman's Himalayan sea salt body wash. Now, if only there was a mountain range separating the Indian subcontinent from the Tibetan plateau where I could hide my Old Spice and keep my family from stealing it, my impossibly smooth skin will finally be safe.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds, which could be life-changing. I mean, you could put that money towards that zero-turn lawnmower you've always wanted. And after using its edge-shaping technology to meticulously sculpt the face of the Mona Lisa into your grass, you'll become the undisputed king of Saturday morning lawn care, leaving your neighbor and sworn enemy Gary to question his place in the delicate neighborhood ecosystem. And it's all because you could save money switching at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states.
Now streaming only on Disney+.
My name is Taylor. Welcome to the Eras Tour.
Experience Taylor Swift's record-breaking Eras Tour.
Does anyone here know the lyrics? Prove it!
Taylor Swift The Eras Tour, Taylor's version, with 4 additional acoustic songs. Now streaming only on Disney+.
Need assistance with door and window projects? The Home Depot can help. From inspiration and materials to ordering and installation, our free Millwork virtual apron service can get you moving and doing. Plus, we speak Spanish too. Our associates can help you tackle complex jobs without you leaving the job site, saving you time and money. Call us at 1-833-HD-APRON or visit homedepot.com/MVA. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Let's face it, nothing makes you look older than you really are than thinning hair. But what if you could not only increase your hair count, but promote new hair growth without surgery, without drugs with potential side effects, and without a prescription from your doctor? Well, now you can, thanks to a breakthrough new supplement called Hair Grow, provided by New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Europe. Hair Grow is now available in the U.S. Only Hair Grow contains Tocogaya, a powerful antioxidant that has received a U.S. patent. Multiple clinical studies show Hair Grow is safe and effective in promoting new hair growth. In one study, 95% of the patients using Hair Grow saw increased hair count. Don't lose more time and more hair. Try Hair Grow today to feel and look your best. Just go to newnordicusa.com or visit Walgreens or Amazon to purchase. Look younger and feel more confident with Hair Grow by New Nordic at newnordicusa.com.
Hey South Dayton, do you or someone you know need to get their driver's license soon? Montgomery County Clerk of Courts Mike Foley's Auto Title Division is proud to now be a designated testing location in partnership with Ohio BMV.
When you schedule your driving skills test on the BMV website, just choose our Moraine Auto Title location at 5552 North Springboro Pike. Testing fees will apply. We even have weekend hours.
Let's get you on the road.
This news service is brought to you by Montgomery County Clerk of Courts Mike Foley.
Visit Land of Illusion and dive into a tropical oasis. Perfect for family fun with separate kids courses and splash zones. Secure your season passes today at landofillusion.com.
And we are back. It's the Kinner and Kev Show, 1410 ESPN Radio, 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number that you can jump in on the conversation. All right, as we wrap it up here. Oh, no, we're not wrapping it up. We got time still.
Got time?
I don't even know what time it is. I got time. I got a lot more time than I thought.
4:31.
But so
in the Miami Valley.
Kelsey Conway tweeted out yesterday afternoon as we were wrapping up the show. This is kind of when it started to hit, but an exclusive article that apparently the Inquirer has learned new details about the Bengals and T. Higgins contract negotiations. In this article, it includes what the range of money was that the Bengals originally offered T, what T. Higgins is actually looking for, contract comparisons, this, that, and the other. So, look, I've defended the Bengals in this situation throughout, mainly because, and we'll highlight this article and the details in a bit. I've said before, for everyone out there, like I was listening to Off the Bench earlier with Trace and the guys, and I kept hearing them refer to, well, that they don't value him as this, they don't financially value him as that. I mean, at the end of the day, they just can't afford him. Like the Bengals can't afford T. Higgins because they're basically, actually they can't afford T. Higgins. They could afford T. Higgins if they weren't going to try and make Jamar Chase the highest paid wide receiver in football when that time comes. So the bottom line is at this point they can afford T. Higgins, but they know down the road they can't afford T. Higgins, so they're not going to go down that road at all. So I've said I defend the Bengals there. I don't mind if they say, hey, we're not even going to try and move forward with this. So a lot of the criticism stemmed from the fact that they had gone over a year without even talking at all. That the Bengals had gone about a year without even contacting or having any kind of communication with T. Higgins. And my argument was, why are people mad at the Bengals for that? Why? I'm not mad at the Bengals for not having any communication with T. Higgins. If they know in their head, we don't need to have contract negotiation conversations because we aren't part of our long-term plans. We have to financially prioritize other needs and other key positions. So, T. Higgins, do we want you on this team? Yes. Are you a number one wide receiver, our second number one wide receiver? Absolutely. But we financially cannot prioritize you over our offensive line, over our secondary, over an elite pass rusher. That would not do us any good. We'd be a Big 12 team at that point. We saw it last year. Even when Joe Burrow went out, this was still a very efficient offense. They put up a lot of points. They were, they still, even without being able to run the football, they were still moving the ball up and down the field, but they couldn't stop anybody from that perspective. The second worst defense in the NFL, they ultimately missed the playoffs, finishing last in the AFC North. Yes, without Joe Burrow, but whatever. So, I have no problem with the Bengals with that. But apparently the last time they had talked to Kev, the Bengals weren't even remotely close to $20 million.
Not even remotely close?
Not even remotely close, according to the article. Not even remotely close in regards to, it was such a low offer that T. Higgins' camp couldn't even respond because they couldn't even talk about the guarantee because that's how low the offer was. They couldn't even get to the point to where, okay, you're willing to offer us, let's say, $25 million a year. Well, all right, let's negotiate how much of that's guaranteed a year. It was such a lowball offer that they couldn't even get to the point where they were talking about the guarantees. So what does T. Higgins want? According to the reports, according to Kelsey Conway, all right, T. Higgins wants in the range of what Michael Pittman got, what Terry McLaurin got, what Deebo Samuel got. So that puts you roughly at $23 million. So if the Bengals' offer that came in over a year ago isn't even remotely close to $20 million, so that means you're far off from $20 million, which means you're even further off from $23 million. I could see why T. Higgins is like, okay, we're not even in the ballpark. I'm not pro T. Higgins on this. I know you want paid, you want an extension in Cincinnati, but sometimes a lot of people want to remain with the job that they have, but there's budget cuts or there's a change in direction of the philosophy of the company, yada yada. The Bengals, it's not that they can't afford T. Higgins, or it's not that they don't prioritize T. Higgins or see him as worth it. They just aren't prioritizing him financially. They wanted to keep Joe Mixon. They wanted to keep, years ago, Jesse Bates. They wanted to keep Jesse Bates. They didn't want to lose DJ Reader. But financially, they can't afford these guys. So why even sit back? Why even get in negotiations with them? DJ Reader did an interview not too long ago that said, hey, ultimately, I had to just move on because their team wasn't even talking to our team. There was no talks. People ripped the Bengals for that. I didn't. I said, if he's not part of your long-term plans, why do we need to negotiate something that we're not looking to accomplish by having you here long-term? So I do have a problem, though, with the Bengals. This is where the narrative comes to bite them in the ass all the time, Kev. I don't think they're a cheap organization, but they do come across cheap when it comes to the fully guaranteed money aspect. This doesn't help that narrative. I think the Bengals look pretty bad in this situation. I support them not wanting T. Higgins because they can't afford it with what they're prioritizing elsewhere, but it's disrespectful to look at a guy like T. Higgins, who you are saying we're so desperate to bring you back, $21.5 million guaranteed on on the franchise tag because we have to win a Super Bowl. The mixed messaging. We're not going to trade you. We're trying to win a Super Bowl this year. Oh, so you're saying I'm a vital piece to that Super Bowl puzzle? But the last time you offered me money, you didn't even remotely come close to $20 million? That's a problem. I think that makes the Bengals look pretty bad in this situation.
It makes them look bad, but the worst part about it is really like kind of what you said about what happened with DJ Reader. If your people aren't talking to their people and they don't want you in their plans going forward, it's as simple as that. It's a simple conversation like, hey, we're going to move in a different direction.
Tell them that.
Just be honest. And
Okay.
I think that any employee will want honesty from their employer. Like, hey, man, this is what it is, and just be, rip the Band-Aid off and just is what it is. So you as an employee, and obviously in this case, he's the employee, so he can move on with his life or his career and everything like that. And I think that speaks volumes for everybody out there listening. Everybody's been in that type of situation. So for T. Higgins and his camp, like from the Cincinnati Bengals, I would expect or will want them to say, hey, financially, we're not going to be able to give you what you want. This is what we can offer in our plans. No, it's not what you want. We would love to have you. This is what we can offer you. If you want to go somewhere else next season, because we are going to franchise tag you, that's your prerogative. But this is all we can afford. Like, just that alone can go a long way. Not only go a long way with relationships between you as an organization and other agencies, but also in your locker room to say, hey, man, they told me straight up, like, they can't afford me. So, you think for 1 second T. Higgins isn't talking to the rest of the guys on that 53-man roster about how his contract negotiations are going. Like, I'm sure he's close with some guys, not close with others. But, bad news travels a lot faster than good news. You know what I'm saying? So that's vital. And then this is from, I put up an article from this past August talking about the highest paid wide receivers. So you tell me if T is better than this guy or not. Tyreek Hill making $30 million a year.
Yeah, I'll take Tyreek.
Devontae Adams, $28 million.
I'll take Devontae.
Cooper Kupp, $26.5 million.
I'll take Cooper.
A.J. Brown, granted, he just restructured his deal, but this, like I said, this is from August, $25 million.
A.J. Brown.
Stephon Diggs, $24 million.
Stephon Diggs.
DK, $24 million.
Can't go wrong with either, but physical stature-wise, I'll go with DK.
Debo, 23.8.
Debo for versatility, being able to, I know he didn't like to be used in that run game type situation. He wanted to be a wide receiver, but I'll take Debo.
Terry McLaurin, $23 million.
Can't go wrong with either. I'll go with T in that, though. But if I have Terry McLaurin, I'm not losing sleep at night. But I like T and I like Terry.
DJ Moore, Bears, $20 million.
Give me, I'll take T. No, I was stuttering there, and it took me a second, but I didn't need to think about it. I'll take T over DJ Moore any day, but DJ Moore is very good, too.
Now, these two guys both play for the Chargers, both made $20 million last year, with them being Keenan Allen and Mike Williams.
It's funny, all three of those injury guys, too. Like T gets banged up a lot. I'm going to go with T, but I think they're all pretty close. There's a reason. Like I said, they're all. That's why I don't think T was being that crazy. T wasn't asking for $30 million. He wasn't asking. He was asking for those middle of the line guys right there. Amari Cooper makes $20 million.
Yep. He's down at.
Oh, my bad.
Down to 12. No, I wasn't. No, you're fine. I was just going to those top 10. So to think that T. Higgins, you can get a T. Higgins. So you're roughly around 22, 23, $24 million, somewhere in that range. I think that's a feasible contract for him. I think that's probably spot on, not only for the Cincinnati Bengals or whomever he's going to play for in the years to come. It's not a bad deal. He's on comps with the DJ Moores, Keenan Allens, Terry McLaurins, and Debo. Debo is more, he's not like a precise route runner. He's not going to beat you over the top with speed. He's more of a high tool gadget guy. But about $24 million is good. Is a good deal for all parties involved, for T, bang for his buck, and what he's going to give you on the field. It just ain't going to be for the Cincinnati Bengals. It's made evident when you're that far off that you can't even come back to the negotiation table. Like, normally when, remember when Debo was saying he wasn't coming back to the 49ers, he's in the club saying with the signs for the bottle girls, like, come back, he's giving them the nah sign. Guess what? They got it worked out because they were close. They were negotiating. When numbers are this far apart, you're not even negotiating.
Well, they haven't talked in over a year.
Yeah, so he's going to sign. He's going to come in, play this year on the $21 million, and he'll be playing for somebody else next season. Maybe the Seahawks, maybe the Jets, I don't know. Where's he from? He's from Nashville, right? He's from somewhere in Tennessee, right?
Yeah, he is, isn't he?
Yeah, he's from somewhere in Tennessee originally.
And, Tennessee can make sense too, obviously, because Callahan over there now.
Right.
So the former OC for Cincinnati. Here's the problem I have with the Bengals, and maybe this is how most teams operate. I don't know. I feel like every team has athletes that leave that are disgruntled a bit. But I think the negative narrative, the narrative that has the negative connotation to it about the Bengals is the wrong one, about how cheap they are. They are cheap when it comes to guaranteed money. But I think that their ownership and management, they're kind of bad people when it comes to, well, once you don't serve any purpose to us, we just don't care about you at all. They don't respect anybody. When you like, this goes back to Whitworth. I just saw an interview that he did recently where he felt disrespected too because they were they weren't even talking to him. They weren't even giving him the light of day. They weren't communicating with him at all. And it wasn't just about the draft. It was about, hey, I want to talk about this contract. I want to, get this underway. They didn't even communicate with him at all through that at all because they had made up their mind about him. And then he went to Mike Brown. Mike Brown ultimately said, we're going to get the deal done. But of course, Katie and the others were frustrated that he went over their head. And they're like, hey, don't talk to us. This is between you and Mike Brown, giving him the cold shoulder. Once you don't serve a purpose to them, they give you the cold shoulder and don't include you in any communication, not about decisions made for the team, but decisions made about you. That you should treat those people better because that's going to be what keeps people. The arrogance of Bengals fans, everyone going to be lining up to play with Joey B. Everyone loves Joe Burrow. It ain't about Joe. Joe Burrow gets taken care of. You won't be taken care of when you go to Cincinnati. That's not a hot take. T. Higgins, everything's great, man. We're winning we're getting to Super Bowls because of T. Higgins. We're winning the AFC North because of T. Higgins. And now, he's injury prone. Now he's this. Now he's that. Now you don't talk to him for a year. That's not a guy. That's not how you show appreciation to a guy that helped you get to a Super Bowl. That was a part of the culture change in Cincinnati. Even when when Carlos Dunlap and when Geno Atkins and when those guys were leaving, those guys were pivotal pieces during that Bengals during that Marvin Lewis run, right? They felt disrespected going out the door because they weren't communicated with at all regarding where they stood within the Bengals' future. Those were articles that came out talking about their departure. Andy Dalton was furious because he was made under the impression he was going to be the starting quarterback for the rest of that final year in Cincinnati. And then they wait till after the trade deadline to tell him, yeah, you're no longer a starting quarterback. And he was pissed because there was no communication. Right. Me and my team would have demanded a trade. I have no problem with the Bengals wanting to go, see if the backup quarterback's going to be worth it or not. I have no problem with that, but you should have let me know. I could have pursued a starting gig at the trade deadline elsewhere. That every article, that's the negative connotation about the Bengals. When you don't have a purpose for them, they treat you like absolute crap. And I think that is a representation. That's more of a bad representation of them than anything else. And that's just bad business. That's bad business in radio. That's bad business in sports, in retail.
Radio's a great business.
Yeah. But it's true. Once you don't serve a purpose to them, they just turn the Cincinnati Bengals organization is not respected enough or good enough to turn your nose up to absolutely anybody. I think that's disrespectful. They did that to A.J. Green on the way out as well. All these guys have issues with the Bengals on the way out, and you can't just say a lot of guys have issues with their teams on the way out. A lot of teams communicate with their guys. The Cincinnati Bengals don't.
You're right. And obviously, since we live in this area, we are hyper-focused on everything the Cincinnati Bengals do. I do want to talk about, this is just the business of the NFL. I remember when, obviously you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, when everything went down with Emmitt Smith. He had to go to the Arizona Cardinals to finish out his playing career. Jerry Rice, he had to go to, the Raiders and then the Seahawks, and I think he had a little brief tenure with the Denver Broncos. This is how it goes. Once you're used up in, that team's eyes, they're ready to move on from you. I mean, look at Randy Moss. Once things went sour with the Minnesota Vikings, he went to the Raiders, and the Raiders thought, everybody around the league thought Randy Moss was washed. And then miraculously, he shows up with Tom Brady, and he's back to Randy Moss. Once teams are done with you and think you don't have anything left in the tank, they're ready to get rid of you. And it's so much easier to do in the NFL.
But they're allowed to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not saying that they're wrong. Like, that's just part of the business. And I'm not saying it's right either. But my biggest thing in everything is just simply is communication, especially like when a player is still got tread left on the tire and he has more than tread on the tire. He's got a lot of grip on the tire. Like for worst to worst, like you can do a sign and trade or something like that. You're gonna get something for him. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna get something for, all right, man, T, we're gonna send you to blah 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 team, and they're gonna give us a third and a fourth rounder for you or whatever. Like the communication. I know, like this NFL thing is so secretive. We just coming off the NFL draft, and we do all the mock drafts, and people talk about like, oh, they got their eye on a guy late in the fourth round. Hopefully, we can sneak and grab him. Nobody's talking about him and stuff like that. I understand the secrecy that has to be taking place in there, but like some form of communication with your employee is highly recommended from me. Like, and not just in sports, but in every aspect of life. I'm sure there's people that own businesses out there right now listening to our show. I would implore you, hey, you can't obviously tell your employee everything. You're not going to let them behind the scenes and let them balance the books or anything like that. But if there's something going on, honesty. Just be honest. And I think, like you said, that can go a long way. I mean, we talked about this before with the Ring of Honor and, like, Corey Dillon being upset with the whole situation, everything like that. Carson Palmer is outing with the Cincinnati Bengals. I can really only think of a handful of guys and Cincinnati Bengals fans. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but, like, guys that really still get along with the organization. That would be in Chad Johnson. And I want to say TJ still has a real good relationship with the organization. Boomer.
Icky. We've talked to Icky before. Icky still, there's things about the way Bengals do business that still rubs him the wrong way, but ultimately it's about his relationship with his former teammates and stuff.
Right.
So that's why when Anthony Munoz does his the Bengals are great they're great. You're Anthony Munoz. Of course they're great to you. I don't really care what you have to say. Of course they're going to be great to you. They're going to be great to Joe Burrow, but like when you don't have value to them. So to your point, like, okay, you bring up the Cowboys with Emmett and all this other stuff too. There is no organization that has more former players talk bad about their exit from a team than Cincinnati. Like, that's not an opinion either. That, like, you can't, maybe it's an opinion. Sorry, I shouldn't say so definitive. But like this guy right here, it's Nate Johnson. He's not happy with me. He says it's not just the Bengals that do that. All teams do that. Wait, dude. Everyone used to say that the Bengals kept vets too long, trying to do the right by them, and didn't move on at the right time to get value. This dude has a short memory. I just provided facts, dude. This isn't me just making stuff up. I just gave you a laundry list of names that have all come within the last decade, and we could even expand it a little wider if we need to go the route that Kev talked about with the Corey Dillon and obviously the Carson Palmer and everything else. I'm just talking about this recent run from the transition from Marvin Lewis into the Zach Taylor era. The way that they handled a lot of these, and by the way, when I said that they're allowed to say they don't need you anymore.
Right.
And Nate Johnson, when he goes, thank God one of y'all is smart enough to see this is an NFL problem, not a Bengals front office problem. It is a Bengals front office problem, Nate. No matter what you say, it is a Bengals front office problem to have so many star players literally come out and address how poorly they communicate with you. Yes, that is a Bengals problem. And just because everyone else is bad at it in your eyes doesn't mean that it's not a problem for your team. It is a problem for your team. So as we sit here right now and look at this, yes, teams are allowed to move on from you. I defended the Bengals and said they don't have to want to extend T. Higgins. That's why I defended the Bengals, and they didn't communicate with him for that year about, why. It's not really the communicating part I was okay with. I was fine with them not having to sit down for a negotiation. What are we going to negotiate? You want to negotiate a contract. We don't want to give you a contract. We want to use the money that you want for your contract to allocate elsewhere. I defended the Bengals there. What I'm ripping is the disrespect of at the same time of, what the value of a number one wide receiver is in T. Higgins, and you're going to come in significantly less than $20 million. Like, that's the part that makes your organization look bad from being the cheap standpoint. But they're not communicating for the last year. I defend the Bengals if they don't want to do it, but tell him that. Hey, there's nothing to negotiate. Do that. And again, you have the Whitworth interview that just came out this week. They talked about, as far as that goes. There's a lot of athletes on the way out that have a problem with the Bengals. I don't think that's a hot take. Yeah, so we'll see what comes of this. And then, you also have Trey Hendrickson who wants out. I know you were off last week. We only have a couple minutes, but your thoughts on that. I know Hendrickson does look kind of goofy. He just signed that extension last year. What I said was he's kicking himself. He had the great dominant season that he had last year, I think if he would have, I told this to Casey last Friday, I was like, I don't think he believed he was that good, because if he believed he was that good, he wouldn't have signed that extension last year. And then he dominates the way that he did. So many Bengals fans are upset that he wasn't in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation with T.J. Watt and Myles Garrett, of course, because of the dominant sack numbers and everything else. He had more sacks than both of those two when it was all said and done. And the wild thing is, now he's saying, oh, I want more money. I should be worth this. I should be worth that. Well, you shouldn't have signed that extension last year. But obviously the communication between him and the Bengals has led to him being outspoken to demand the trade the way that he has.
He should be mad at his agent.
Yeah.
Should be mad at his agent. That's who he should be mad at. He shouldn't be mad at the Cincinnati Bengals. Your agent negotiated this deal, and now you signed said deal. Now you're mad because, I mean, I do think it's in bad taste to try to renegotiate 1 year after. Like, wait a minute. Like, I'm always I'm almost a player guy. I'm always railing against the man, and the man in this case being the teams and stuff like that. Give the player their money. But, like, dude, you just signed it last year. Like, you outperformed the contract. Okay, well, let's see what happens next year. Like, let's let the contract play out a little bit before we come back to the table. So be mad at your agent, not the Cincinnati Bengals, and definitely don't be out here saying you want a trade just simply because it's really all about money. Like, dude, if it was all about money, then you should have held out last year and played it on a prove-it deal, and you'd have been paid just like Michael Parsons about to get paid.
No, and like, I'm defending both sides of this. Yes, like, you just signed that contract last year. But the Trey Hendrickson performance last year was way above what I think even the Bengals expected from him. I don't think they even expected that. I mean, that type of dominance. I mean, again, he was more dominant from a sack perspective than T.J. Watt and Myles Garrett. He was that dominant. I don't have a problem with him going to the front office and saying, hey, based on my production, this number doesn't sit well with me. This is the exact played out situation that happened with Andrew Whitworth. And then, of course, Andrew Whitworth threatened to retire and ultimately got his,
traded to the Rams, right?
To the Rams. But ultimately, I don't even know if he was traded or if he went free agency. I can't remember that far back. But the point is, that's the Mike Brown story from a little bit ago, that he threatened to retire, and then that's how he ultimately ended up getting what he needed done out of that. So Trey Hendrickson, I think, has taken a play out of that playbook as far as that's concerned. My thing is this. The Cincinnati Bengals, if last year, let's say Trey Hendrickson had that performance last year, or the last season heading into that, were you not going to pay him for how dominant he is out on the field? You would have paid him that. So it's one of those pick your battles. You have too many things going on with T. Higgins. You have too many things with other players on the team that you're going to have to figure out contract-wise. Jamar Chase, everyone thinks that's just going to be a simple sign, seal, deliver, here's your check, and off you go. That's going to get ugly too, in my opinion. I know y'all don't think so, but you also didn't think that they were going to split up Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins, and yet here we are. So I just think that pick your battles. Second worst defense in the NFL last year. You can't afford to lose him. I just think you got to find a way to meet in the middle somewhat, and we'll see what happens with that. But I don't expect him to get paid. I don't expect him to get traded.
But he just got paid.
I don't expect him. Paid what he's actually worth.
Paid
Yeah,
again.
paid.
Just for reference, T.J. Watt had 19 sacks. Hendrickson had 17 and a half. He was tied for the league in second place with Josh Allen from Jacksonville, who just signed another contract with 17 and a half. Khalil Mack had 17. Danielle Hunter had 16 and a half. Crosby 14 and a half. Myles Garrett 14 sacks. It sounds like he should have had more incentives in his contract based off of sack numbers. That's what it sounds like. Sounds like, hey, man, maybe his incentives was like, all right, man, you get an extra $1 million per sack or something like that, and or a big bonus when you get to a certain amount of sacks or whatever, and maybe he exceeded that and like, man, we should have put in an extra sack so I could have got some more money. But, yeah, he came in second in the league in sacks with 17 and a half. So, yeah, he's a monster on the edge.
But nonetheless, Nate Johnson says Trey deserves more money. Burrow's contract went pretty smooth. Chase is closer to Burrow's level than he is to T. Burrow's contract went pretty smooth. I mean, but like that's the thing though. Like Burrow and Nate, I'm not trying to argue with everything you say. I apologize. So I'm gonna change my tone. Yeah, the Burrow thing went smooth, but at the same time, like they had no choice. The Bengals had no choice but to get that deal done. None. Like, right, Kev? Like, there was no way. Whatever Burrow asked for, he was going to get. There was never a scenario. So when you say it went smooth, I mean, could it have played out a little rockier like the Ravens? But we really got to the point where I literally thought we would never see Lamar play another game in the Ravens uniform. Like that. Like, and the Bengals and the difference is the Ravens were an organization that has had enough success that have won Super Bowls with significantly less talented quarterbacks. Okay, like they were like not ready for life without Lamar, but they were willing to go to life without Lamar. The Cincinnati Bengals have not been that fortunate, so there was never a scenario that to me was going to play out to where that didn't get done smoothly. As far as Jamar goes, Nate, I'm having a hard time still processing how the Bengals are going to get a deal done with Jamar Chase as far as $35 million a year. Along with Joe Burrow's $55 million a year. We've never seen anything like that before, ever. So I'm still having my doubts that they can get that done in a, not peaceful, like haymakers will be thrown, but, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But, all right, Kenner and Cab, 1410 ESPN Radio. We never even got to what's trending. I think we touched on everything. We touched on who I hated on today. So, nonetheless. All right, I know there was something I wanted to put in there, but, yeah. All good. Nate, appreciate you, man. I like the back and forth. I really do. See, I'm not that bad. I've got Kev has helped me get better at not being such a prickly dude all the time. I added Lee at the end. We'll be right back. Hour number 3 coming up next. Shout out to Casey and Elliot and whoever was producing for us behind the scenes. I think it was Casey, but Elliot, who tried to stir the pot to start the show, he won. He didn't win the argument. He just won as far as getting my attention and getting me to totally derail the show with that Joey Votto conversation. But nonetheless,
Votto,
right. Yeah, Votto for 5. My new one, Candelario. He's really bad. He did have a couple hits though recently, but Candelario for 5, Candelario for 6.
Cavs win tonight.
Not without. Before we close this hour out, let's go to the old Twitter machine. Let's go to the old. I'm really curious to see if he's playing tonight.
Jamal Murray wasn't supposed to play last night, and then he hit the game winner.
You said Jamal Murray, too. I think it was 50-point. We talk about playoff Jimmy. How about playoff Jamal Murray? Because first team, All-NBA team, no All-Stars, no nothing. Like, he gets no.
It's going to be crazy once his career is over when he shows up to his Hall of Fame induction with no All-Star appearances, no All-NBAs, but like 4 championship rings. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
Like you have no accolades, but all you got is a whole bunch of rings and a whole bunch of points in the playoffs.
So we're waiting to see the update on whether or not he's going to play tonight for the Cavs, of course. Who are we talking about?
Jared Allen.
Mr. Jared Allen, who's, by the way, I think that's an indictment, too, on Mitchell. Mm-hmm. When we're sitting there saying, oh, man, they're screwed. He's been their best player in the playoffs, and yet the Cavs are panicking because Mitchell may not want to re-sign with us. Well, Mitchell, you got to make sure you're doing your part too.
Yep.
And I think he did his part. I thought he played well in the playoffs last year. I think he was way better in the playoffs last year, and I thought he looked very good in games 1 and 2. But they've looked bad the last 2 games, and tonight could be very. They came out flat. What did you think of everyone that said how bad the Cavs came out? Almost like they just did not care about anything.
I wasn't mad that they got blew out in game 3. I was like, pretty much thought that was going to happen. I was rather upset in the second half performance in the last game with Orlando. I mean, you're up by 8 and then you lose by 20. And it's not all on Donovan Mitchell. Garland has played absolutely horrible. Matt Strus has played absolutely terrible. I mean, Strus, you were brought here to knock down 3-pointers and bring that Miami culture to the Cavs, and you have not done that either. So they're culpable as well, but the best player on the team is going to hold most of that weight of why the team is losing. And Donovan Mitchell, I mean, tonight 8 o'clock, NBA TV, it's time for you to show up and show out.
The Cavs, you don't realize, the Celtics are beat up now. They're vulnerable, and that's who you'd have in the second round. You can't screw around. It was the same thing last year because they
don't stand a chance versus the Celtics.
But hold up,
Even without.
they would have had who would the Knicks? Who did they play? Philly the next round. So, but that was the thing. What's his name got hurt in the playoffs. So it's like the Cavs, they get past the Knicks, they would have had a vulnerable Philly team that would have been right to the Eastern Conference Championship. You're taking on Miami, and at the time, taking on Miami, you're good, you're golden.
Right.
This is the second straight playoff run where they could be shooting themselves in the foot.
Not taking
missed
advantage of the opportunity in front. Yeah, you're right.
And
you're right.
They're one of the better rosters.
That roster is not, and that's the crazy thing about it.
The Cavs we're talking about here.
The roster is right, but what you said last year, about the parts not fitting, I think we're at that point. If they don't get past this series, it's proven that the pieces just don't work. you got to make a decision on either Jared Allen or Mobley. One of them got to go. And then you have to make a decision about Mitchell and Garland. One of them got to go. Because you look back at the season, when they were playing their best, it was Mitchell and Jared Allen. And then when those two weren't playing, it was Evan Mobley and DG playing very good. So whatever two is staying, it's fine with me. But two of them got to go.
Yep. I mean, and I'm still not counting out the attempt to go get LBJ.
Oh, boy.
You could even – you send Mobley. You send – yeah. You could send there's something there. There's something there.
Can't let go.
LeBron and Mitchell, dude.
Can't let go.
LeBron and Mitchell. Let's go.
Can't let go.
Let's go.
Let the man ride off into the sunset.
Nate Johnson says the Cavs make me wish Cincy had an NBA team.
Selfishly enough,
I want a pro NBA team or a pro team in Cincinnati somehow.
Yeah, and make my
That's why I was
drive
mad.
an hour
I
instead
saw-
of 2 hours to Indianapolis.
Like when the WNBA, I don't even care if it's WNBA, just something.
The W.
I'm not going to support Cincinnati basketball or Xavier, so I'm not a big UD guy, but I mean I could support them in that. I'm an Ohio State guy as far as that goes from that perspective. I'm a Wright State guy. It's day 2. We didn't get to all the UD stuff. UD. Maybe we'll have Mikey call in tomorrow.
Ring our bell.
We'll see if we can get through a whole other night without someone entering the portal from the Flyers roster. Maybe they'll add somebody. You see Deron Holmes, last thing on the way out. Deron Holmes is officially on the NBA list. Him and Kobe Bryant. So Deron never did, and I'm glad. I don't like when I'm declaring for the draft. You're not declaring for the draft. You're going to go to the little workout, and they're going to tell you if you're good enough for the NBA. And then if they do tell you that you're good enough for the NBA, then you're declaring for the NBA draft. I hate when players do that, Kev. Mainly because I cover a lot of mid-major basketball, working with the conference I do. So I see a lot of players in the Horizon League that do that. I love my teammates. I love, my coaches, but I'm going to, want to thank the fans, and I'm going to use this moment to announce that I'm declaring for the NBA draft. You ain't declaring for the NBA draft. You're declaring for the combine in Indianapolis, and you're going to go be evaluated, and then based on that will be whether or not you declare for the NBA draft. I hate when they do that. I hate it.
Add that to the list.
Add that to the list. We're done. Kenner and Cav, 1410 ESPN Radio. I tried thanking Casey and Elliot like half hour ago. This is a horrible show today. I'm so sorry. Debbie's going to kill me. We'll be right back. Kenner and Kev, 1410 ESPN Radio. We still have another hour on radio. That wraps up for us on Chatterbox Sports, and we'll do this again tomorrow. Kenner and Kev, 1410 ESPN Radio.